Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan, and we're really glad that you're here.
I should say, howdy, I'm Rob.
And I'm long-suffering Joan.
We're with you tonight from Magnolia Bluff, Texas.
Anyway, we're glad whether you're watching us live tonight on the podcast or if you're listening to the podcast later on or watching the podcast later on, we're really, really happy to have you in our audience. And we just lost you.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't know what happened. Wait just a minute. There we go. That was fun. We just lost the whole thing.
The whole screen went blank. It's like, oh my goodness.
Chris Chrisman says, good evening, Rob and Joan.
Hi,
Good
Chris.
evening, Chris. We're glad you're in the audience. George Dismukes. I'm here, a nervous wreck, but I'm here. Hello,
Hi,
everybody.
George.
And he's a nervous wreck because his dog, Gizmo, is in the animal hospital, and he has a pinched nerve. Yeah, I know. It's awful. It's
The
terrible.
dog has a pinched nerve.
Not George, the dog. Paul Hollis says, good evening, Rob and Joan.
Hey,
Good
Paul.
evening, Paul. We're so glad you're here. C.W. Hawes said, howdy, Rob and Joan. Good to be back
Howdy,
in the hill
CW.
country. Marjorie Deering says, howdy back.
Hi, Marjorie.
And Chris Chrisman says, hello, Jinx and Kelly.
Hello.
And George Dismuke says, with that hat, you are supposed to say y'all.
Yo, how's that?
Richard, oops, wait a minute. Richard Schwint said, hi, everyone. Thrilled.
everyone.
Hi,
Hi,
Richard.
Richard.
We're so thrilled. We're thrilled. We're Schwint that you're here. I can't talk.
Can we go back and
I
start
haven't
over?
had anything to drink other than water and coffee all day
Mhm,
long.
mhm.
Don't do that. They'll think.
Good to see you, Richard. Or not see you, but hear you.
Anyway, great YouTube, Richard, with CW. Good job. Joe Conjal says, hi, Rob and Joan, Kelly, and Jinx.
Hey, Joe.
And Richard Schwinn says,
Hey.
LOL. Yeah, it's really funny. I can't talk, Richard.
Oh, boy.
It
Wow.
is actually.
On with the business.
Okay.
Episode Rewind. This coming Saturday is episode 104, and that's going to be A.G. Fletcher. It's at 5:30 p.m. right here where you're watching, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, right here where you're watching this show. Next Wednesday, we've got a pre-recorded new episode because we're going to be traveling, but it's a brand new episode with Joseph Carabas, and we had him on once before.
Yeah.
I think episode 101, something like that. But he's got a new book out, and we had a lot of fun pre-recording that.
Yeah.
That's at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time
We
here in
picked
the
his
U.S.
brain on how to use a pizza oven.
There you go. Next Wednesday, November 15th. Want to remind everybody about the Voice of Indie podcast on Blog Talk Radio. There's a little instruction video at the end of our show that tells you how to get over there. And it's hosted by Beam and Gary. And stay tuned at the end of the show for that. Book World podcast is another one you want to tune into if you're really interested in podcasts about authors, hosted by author C.J. Peterson and Mike Clifton. And you just go to @CJ Peterson on YouTube. Want to mention two brand new releases. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Two brand new releases. Gerald Darnell has another entry in the Carson Reno Mystery Series. Leave the Dead Alone, it's called. Looks like it's really a good one. And then Joe Allen Ash, a.k.a. Robin Madrich, has a new book out called The Sleeping Myth. And that's a Shadow Journey series, book 3. So those are a couple you'd want to visit Amazon and pick up.
Joyce Shelton York says, hi, all.
Hi,
Hi,
Joy.
Joy. We're so glad you could make it tonight. And then Mariah Hudson says, hello from Alaska.
Hi, Mariah.
Hi, Mariah. Welcome to the audience. We're really, really happy
Welcome
that you're
aboard.
here. Yeah, this is awesome. I hope you enjoyed the show and feel free to comment.
Okay. Well, on with the show.
Let's
That's what
bring
they
them
say,
up
right?
here. Hey.
Hello, Jinx and Kelly.
Hi there.
Hello.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Just terrific. I just wanted to mention and say hey to my friend Mariah. I worked with her at Social Security, and so when she retired, she moved all the way up to Alaska. So hi, Mariah.
Where in Alaska is she? Do you know?
I think Juneau. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, we don't know. That's why we asked you.
Well, she'll have to in the chat tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Oh, you said Juneau. We don't know.
Sally Cleland says greetings from Regina, Saskatchewan. Well, hello. We're glad you're here. CJ Peterson says hello, everyone. We just talked about you, CJ, and your great podcast.
Here's an answer.
Oh, Mariah lives in Valdez.
Oh, okay. Oops.
We had friends when we retired. A bunch of them moved up to Alaska also.
Yeah, they're still there.
They love it.
Yeah.
They moved from here in Florida to Alaska.
Go figure.
Culture shock.
Was it good what we said about you? Of course. We only have good things to say about you.
What are you thinking?
We all think you're very busy and we don't know how you do everything you do.
There you go. Well, Kelly, you've got the next book up. That's book number 19 in the series, Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. And when does that release?
The 22nd, the day before Thanksgiving.
Okay, November 22nd.
November 22nd.
Right. And you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. It's called Bye, Baby, Bye. And it's a sequel, obviously. I'd written Justice last year. And the main character is the same, Madison Jackson. And she's a police officer. And she is with the Texas State Department of Fish and Game. And so she does, just normal stuff like hands out tickets for no license, that sort of thing. But actually, she's a police officer and they have greater powers than the state police, I was surprised to find. So this is a subsequent story. She had a harrowing experience and was captured and kidnapped in Mexico, was sold into slavery, was forced to marry someone. So this is a subsequent book. And the terrible thing that's happened to Madison, the very beginning, page 1, her baby has been kidnapped. And so nobody asked for money yet. So no ransom note. And so they're all left to scratch their heads. So that's the beginning and opening scene. I'll be reading a little bit of that in just a little while, but she's frantic. So that begins the journey. So
you want to tell people a little bit about, for those who haven't heard you tell your story before, how you got into writing?
Oh boy. I think I always wanted to be a writer, when I was young. And interestingly enough, I got sidetracked into broadcasting for 30 years, for a long time. And I just happened to go to a broadcasting school. I wanted to be the next Barbara Walters and make $1 million a year. Well, that didn't happen, but I had a lot of fun. I got to tell you, I started out in country music. And back when we actually played records and they were only 2.5 minutes long. And so I had quite a history with that. And so I just really had a lot of fun with broadcasting. I eventually went to doing a love song dedication show. I think most people have heard of Delilah Renee. She did a love song show here in Seattle, and she decided she was going to leave and go to the East Coast. And she called me and she said, you need to apply for the job. So I did. It was called Lights Out, and people would call up and say, well, I'm madly in love with so-and-so, and I want you to play this song for them. And so it was very endearing. It was highly emotional sometimes. I'll never forget. It could be very sad sometime. A woman called me one time. She was at the hospital. Her husband was in surgery. He'd had a terrible car accident. And she called to share that with us. And I can remember being so emotionally moved. And I had one of my listeners call and say, I want you to know that your show was being played in a store, and everybody stopped to listen to that. It was, she called me a few years after that. So I of all the calls I got over time, that was the one that just stuck with me. It was tragic, but it just reminded me how that, that type of show can touch people when you're communicating. And even though you're reaching out to strangers, like we as writers reach out to people we don't know, we certainly are displaying a part of ourselves. So I left radio after a while. The business changed and I decided to go to work for the federal government. So that's when I retired. I retired out of the federal government.
Joe Conjul has a question for you. He wants to know, was Lights Out a national show, Kelly?
I think that Delilah had done a bit of where it was subsidized to some stations, but it was primarily regional here in Seattle. So, yeah.
C.J. Peterson said, about the story, it was sad. And Sally Cleland says, I remember the radio dedication song days. If you subscribe to Sirius, you can still dedicate songs on Channel 73, which plays 60s all day, every day.
That's great.
Yeah, they do dedications all the time.
So even though I've been doing other jobs, my day jobs, my love was always writing. So I would wake up early on Saturday morning when my brain was fresh and start writing my stories. And I started that back in 2000 and wrote an apocalyptic book called Phoenix. And I had a publisher who talked me into calling it Black Phoenix. He happened to be sitting in a bar in Arizona and was drinking a Black Phoenix. And he said, I think Kelly ought to rename her book Black Phoenix. So it became Black Phoenix. But it was about, believe it or not, Iran bombing the United States. And this was in the year 2000. And so here we are all these years later, being, Iran's saber rattling. So it's still very relative. And I did go back. I did a lot of research for that book about how the government operates when everything is, like, for example, mail service, you name it, all kinds of things. There's no gasoline. Nobody can go to work, the whole thing. It was interesting. And I updated that book because times had changed. 20 years is a long time. So anyway, I'm kind of hogging the spotlight here, but I love writing. I will tell you, it's a lot of work. It's hard work, and it stretches my brain, and I really like that.
Yeah, me too. It stretches my brain, and believe me, my brain needs stretching.
You made a comment a few minutes ago that your brain was fresh in the morning. Is our brain
on
supposed
Saturday?
On a Saturday? Is it supposed to be fresh in the morning? Because mine isn't.
Still at night and fresh in the morning.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, especially when I was working for Social Security on the phone all day long, your brain does get tired.
Yeah.
And so when I first wake up is the best time really for me to write, because my brain is fresh. And obviously we're all getting older. And so it's just when my brain is freshest, and I just kind of open up the valve, and I never have writer's block. I do things to passively aggressively if I don't want to write. Gee, the dishes need doing, the floor needs sweeping, that kind of thing. But when I sit down and open up the valve, then it comes, and it's something that I don't know where all that stuff comes from. It's just something deep inside of us,
Yeah,
and
he's always
teasing
that. You. Yeah, he's teasing you because that's when we write, is in the morning too. Because by the time the end of the day, your brain is fried.
Yeah.
It's not stale; it's fried.
Our sweet spot is mid-morning to early after, to lunchtime or so, and that we can really get a lot done in that time period.
Not really mid-morning, but
almost
it depends on what you call
after
mid-morning.
Between breakfast and lunch. Okay. Anyway, would you like to read?
I will. And when I tried practicing this morning, and I thought, gosh, even though you were in radio, you're way out of practice. So I did what I did in radio. I practiced a little bit. So hopefully this will come off a little bit.
Okay, let's see. Let's take a look at your cover. There we go. Bye, baby, bye.
That's little Anna, who is kidnapped.
Okay. It's actually, that's pretty cool. I like that cover.
do too.
All right.
Just a little bit about our Crispian Thurlberg. What is his last name, Jinx? I don't know, but he's the most amazing cover artist.
Mm-hmm.
I
don't know.
His name is Crispian.
Yeah, we know.
I can't think of his last name, but
We
he's
We can't either.
marvelous.
They're all good.
Here we go. So from Bye Baby Vi, gently closed the door to my room and crept down the hall. My baby Anna had slept through the night. What a gift. She awakens at 2 most mornings and often refuses a bottle. So it isn't hunger that arouses her. I wondered if she had bad dreams, but what kind of nightmares could an infant have? As much as I miss sleeping through the night, I cherish those sweet moments when I'd pick her up and cuddle her while her fussy snuffles quieted as I rocked her back and forth. She smells of formula and baby powder, and her skin is soft as silk. Those gentle moments are a slice of heaven. I turned the knob and eased open the door. I listened for the gentle intake of her breathing, but the dark room was eerily silent. My bare foot stepped on a rubber toy. I flinched at the squeak that filled the room like a bullhorn. Anna didn't arouse. I reached into the crib to touch her sleeping form. I felt only her fleece blankets. I patted the mattress and my hands still didn't connect with my daughter. Anna, I whispered. My frantic fingers groped the perimeter of the crib. My heart slammed against my rib cage as my louder, insistent voice called her name one more time. I spun around, raced back across the room, and flipped the light switch. Light blinded my vision for a moment. I retraced my steps and gaped at the empty crib. I stupidly repeated her name, Anna, Anna, as if my shrieking would manifest my child. Maybe Dad had her. Had she awakened in the middle of the night and he rocked her to sleep? I hurried out of the nursery, down the hall, into a darkened living room. Dad, Dad! I heard his bedroom door open. Do you have Anna? I shouted. The hall light flipped on, illuminating my dad, hair poking out in all directions, rubbing his barely open eyes. What's this? Anna's not in her crib. Do you have her? His stunned expression told me the terrible answer. I grabbed the back of the couch to steady me. Dad, she's gone. Her crib is empty. Dad spun on his heel and disappeared into his bedroom. I heard him on the phone talking to 911 dispatch. He reappeared. Don't go back to your room, Maddie. The Army's on the way. And I know you know this, but we don't want to disturb any evidence. Do you have socks on? I shook my head no, rounded the sofa and collapsed on the cushions. I just can't sit here, Dad. Jesus. He looked at me with pained eyes, his teeth clenched, his jaw knotted. Let's start there. He crossed himself, dropped his head and said, Jesus, we need you now, right now. Help us find the low-bellied son of a bitch who's taken our Anna. The house seemed like a 3-ring circus. Although I knew everyone was doing their job, the hustle and bustle of the forensic team shuffling between the rooms in their paper shoes irritated me. Chief Jagger's battery of questions drove me nuts. I knew he was doing his job, but all I wanted to do was to scream in his face, go find Anna. The kidnapper hadn't left a note. My baby was just gone. The nanny cam had been turned off in her room. If Anna had whimpered or cried, I wouldn't have heard her. How frightened she must have been to wake in a stranger's arms. I'd made my share of enemies as a police officer, but who would have had the guts and the know-how to break into a police officer's house and escape with her child? I could think of only one person, and that individual was currently in prison. Because of his cartel connections, Anna's father and my still legal husband, Jose Miranda, was incarcerated in the nation's most secure facility, Supermax. I peered into Dad's eyes. They registered the fear I felt in my gut. Cartels were known for their ruthless behavior. Public news and police intel were loaded with ghastly stories of the slaying of entire families, including infants, so that the cartels could exact their revenge. Just acknowledging that fact sent my stomach into a pitch and roll. I fled to my personal bathroom. I made it just in time to flip up the toilet lid. After flushing the commode and washing my hands, I dropped the seat, sat down, and cradled my face in my hands. I sobbed until every ounce of energy had drained from my body. Grateful that I didn't have to face everyone, I zombie walked in the dark to my bedroom and fell onto my California king. I began a mantra I'd learned years ago. The simple Om tickled my lips as I repeated the word over and over, but it did the trick. My mind stepped back from the edge of madness.
That was very
Ooh,
good.
Every parent's nightmare.
No kidding.
Yep.
That's the worst. I can't imagine anything like that. And it happens.
Oh, yeah. Remember Elizabeth Smart and, the other girls that have been kidnapped?
Yeah.
That was a happy ending there, but not always. So that begins the journey. So.
Okay.
Robin Madrish says, very good. Yes, it was very good. Joe Conjal says, your practice paid off. You did a great job reading. Looking forward to reading this story. Yeah,
Well, thank you very much.
And Mariah Hudson says, great story. C.W. Hawes said, good reading, exciting scene. Yeah, very exciting a scene. Joyce Shelton York said, chilling. It is. And Sally Cleland said,
And
I appreciate those kind comments. Thank you.
last name was.
yeah,
Crispin.
CW said that Crispin's last name is Thurlborn.
Thank you. Thank you, CW.
I knew it was something like that.
Thurgood, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Thurlborn. It's not Thurgood.
I have to tell you, he is just first rate. He just comes back with the most wonderful, unique covers. I've, obviously dealt with other people, but he is just the best. And CW found him and is kind of our spokesman with him. And I'm tickled pink with him.
How long does it take him to do your covers for you?
Not that long. We start early and
He's doing ours in February.
Yeah.
Between February something and April something. And our book is being published in April. So,
yeah. I think that CW just sent us
He sent us all the list.
Mm-hmm. But I think early on I let him know, well, here's my story. Here's what, and I had he followed some directions I had in my mind that little baby shoes. And so I wanted that as kind of a glyph, you'll put that at the end of your chapters or when you're separating your chapter into two pieces instead of just asterisks. I said, I'd like to have a little glyph. I wasn't even familiar with the word. He used it. So he created these two little baby shoes. And then he was able to put some pink ones on the back, which are just very adorable. So first rate.
That's really great. Awesome.
Okay. Shall we tell everybody how to reach Kelly?
Okay. You want to do that now?
Yeah.
All right.
And then we'll take our break.
Then we'll take our break, and then it'll be Jinx's turn. Kelly Marshall's website is kellymarshallbooks.com. And for those of you who are listening on the podcast and can't see this, that is KELLYMARSHALLBOOKS.com. And her email is
on her website. You can get to all of her social media links.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
And sign up for. Do you have an email list and all that kind of stuff? And
yes.
So.
I just went to a new provider and I'm very happy with it. It was just took no time at all to zip out an email and it's a really personable way to be in touch with your readers. So I really like it. So Kelly Marshall at kellymarshallbooks.com is how you can reach me and it's just very personal. So
yep. So she just told you her email, Kelly Marshall at kellymarshallbooks.com. And as we said, you can sign up for her newsletter, find all of her social media, all of that good stuff right there. We have another comment. Oh, Mariah Hudson said, great job.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and get our first book giveaway out of the way. Now, this won't be available until after it releases, obviously.
Right. That's
Which
correct.
is November 22nd.
But go ahead and enter now. Kelly's book giveaway is the first 3 people to email Kelly Marshall at kellymarshallbooks.com will win an ebook copy of Bye Baby Bye.
It's a scary beginning.
Very scary.
And you're going to hear her commercial in just a minute. And it's a scary commercial. As scary as your first one was.
I can't take credit for those, but
well, you commissioned them.
yeah, and I got a good guy, that frankly I went to Fiverr, and you just look through some of the creative artists, and so he did the one for Justice, and I thought, well, it's kind of very exciting, and get your blood going and that sort of thing. So I was pleased.
It was terrifying. It wasn't just exciting. That was terrifying. That was terrifying.
Wakes you up too.
It does. It wakes you up for sure. Yeah.
So November 22nd is the release date on Bye Baby Bye. Now we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk with Jinx.
Okay.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Police officer Madison Jackson awakes to discover her baby kidnapped from her crib. Was it revenge for someone she arrested, or something far more sinister? Madison's estranged husband is incarcerated in Supermax. As the second in command of a deadly Mexican cartel, did he issue the order to abduct their daughter? Bye Baby Bye, from author Kelly Marshall. Get your copy today.
Paradise, my prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
And we're back. Chris Crispin wants to say awesome trailer. It is. It's really good. Well, Kelly, it was great talking with you. Let us spend a few minutes now with Jinx. Hi, Jinx. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great today. Am I blipping on your screen?
Sometimes you get a little fuzzy.
Yeah, I'm watching and I'm kind of like, huh?
It's okay. Well, we can see you good enough, I think, and hear you.
Okay. All right. There you
We'll
go.
just blame the weather. How's that?
Robin Madrich said agreed. It was a great trailer. It was. It's a really good trailer, Kelly. So, Jinx, you want to tell us a little bit about what got you into writing and, when you started and all that sort of thing?
Well, honestly, I never had aspirations to be a writer. I was working as an engineer all over the world and busy, and just it was just it never entered my mind. I read everything that I could get my hands on, and then I went home to Texas because my husband and I were living in Mexico. Went home to Texas, and a cousin of mine who was a member of the Daughters of the Republic of Texas decided that I was the one who needed to carry on the tradition with all of our family history. And she unloaded a huge box of stuff on me. Which I took back to the boat and sifted through. And here I was. I'm looking at all these documents, and I just can't get it all straight in my mind. Who, where, what, when, So I started making charts. I'm an engineer. That's what we do. So I started making charts. And as I went, I had the family name and when they came to Texas. And then I would put their kids and then all the way down to me and my sister. Well, it turns out that we were one of the first, I guess, 3 families to come to Texas under Spanish rule, at least legal. Yeah, a non-Hispanic, because the reason my ancestors got in, they were Germans, and they had been citizens of Spanish Louisiana. And and so Spain let them immigrate into Texas. So they had like 5 kids, and they came over on a boat and went up the Trinity River and started from there. And they ended up at around Nacogdoches, I'd say. I've driven the whole route, and it's interesting. Trinity River, of course, is dammed up now. But to imagine what it was like, I had to put myself there. And the Trinity River, where it meets the Gulf of Mexico, is very harsh, jungly, hot, mosquitoes. At that time, the Indians were peaceful, and very few Spaniards were around. But there was a priest, blah, 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 and they were going to. And so, anyway, they ended up going up the river and building their first place on a grant that the Spaniards gave them. Well, anyway, that got me interested. And I started making a little story about each family from what I could glean. And I figured out that this family was the most interesting, the German family that came into Texas that early. Because you got to remember, there was nothing.
Was this when Texas was its own sovereign country, or was this when Texas had been admitted?
It was when it belonged to Spain. But then they got pulled into the conflict between Spain and Mexico, because Mexico was trying to kick Spain out and take Texas as their own. In fact, they wanted them out of Mexico too. They wanted them gone. So they got into that and ended up getting deported by the Spaniards, but they still had a foot in the door on this revolution that they started. And when Mexico, pardon me? Oh, something, I got a black flash. As it turns out, when Mexico took over Texas, these people became Mexican citizens and even officials in the Mexican government. And then before long, here come all these North Americans who were, by the way, coming into Texas illegally. And then they got caught in the middle because everyone called them traitors because they were sided with the Mexicans. Anyway, I thought that was just a real interesting story. So I wrote the Texicans. And by the way, it's free today. I don't know for how much longer. And it's on Amazon. But it was my first book, and it's a saga of this family from 1806 to 1836 at the fall of the Alamo.
So that's Texicans.
Yes, the Texicans.
The
yes.
Texicans.
But that's how I ended up writing the book. It caught my attention, and I realized that nobody had done it for me. So I wanted to show the younger generation of our family where they came from, because I certainly didn't know. No one ever told me this. I knew some of these people. My great grandmother, she remembered being in Texas when they were having Indian raids. So I just thought they were more what you call the original were borderers.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, they were called borderers. And but anyway, that's how I got started writing. And we were living on the boat, and I had time. I never had time during my career to even think about it. Now I had time, and I had a subject, and I had characters. So I put it together. And after that, my husband says, well, why don't you write a book about a couple who comes to Mexico in their boat and gets caught up with the cartels? I said, okay. So I wrote Troubled Sea. And then I wrote 2 more books, one about my life as a kid in Haiti.
Wow.
And then I wrote, what was the next one I wrote?
Before you go on to the next one, Jinx, George Dismukes wants to know, is that book in paperback or ebook?
The Texicans.
It's in paperback, ebook, and audio.
Awesome.
And we'll give
on Amazon.
We'll give our contacts here in a few minutes.
And Joe Conchel says, hi, Jinx. Would you share what the key to becoming a USA Today best-selling author is? Was there a specific path you took to get there?
Yes. I wrote a book, especially for a group. They were actually romance writers. And it was called Love Under Fire. And I wrote a story about a couple who meets in Baja under stressful stuff and ends up coming back and getting across the border. Now, the key to all of these stories coming together was my first of my series, the Head of Coffee series. And I just published number 15. And I had this group that I was with for Baja Getaway, the one I'm having trouble with Amazon now with. Yeah. Baja Getaway was what they were after. They wanted that. They were going after the prize, and we all contributed money and contacts and work, and we got it. We made this list. So that was how I got on that.
Interesting.
So go look for me. I'm there. And so I thought, oh, good. I got an award. And then I won a couple other awards from different places, but that wasn't what I was writing for. Anyway.
Sally Cleland said she loves the personal historical story, the Texicans. She really likes that whole idea. I agree. And George Dismukes says, I got to have it. He has to have that book.
Okay. Oh, hey, it's free. Right. Go quick. Go quick.
Go right in, George.
Only after.
Do it. Don't leave the audience, but have Nathan.
Yeah, I was going to say after the podcast.
We'll give you the link here in just a second.
You're going to do what?
We're going to give we're going to give everyone the links to your website and everything here in just a second.
That'll be great.
And
anyway,
be able to reach
so right now I'm writing with this group, the Underground Writers, and it's been a lot of fun for me because the fictitious town of Magnolia Bluff is my old stomping grounds. My dad lived there for many, many years, my dad and mom. So I really know the territory. And so I know everything about the lakes and whatever. So this Texas Summers or Murder is the second in that series that I've written. The first was Born and Bred Texan. And it ties in with my series in that Blue, who is the protagonist in these two books, is a cousin to Hedda Coffee, who has she's in the 15 books.
That's
and
wonderful.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to get a spin-off going with Blue, but a lot of people really like her. And so in the first book, she's coming back to Texas after a long absence, renovating her grandmother's house and all that sort of stuff. And true to form for the family, she finds a whole back 40 full of bones and gets into in the second book, Blue visits her her friend and cousin, Hedda, down in the Baja, where she and her boyfriend live on a big boat. And they go on a girl cruise with all the girls. And Blue decides, by golly, she wants a boat. So she buys one, almost like Hedda's. And now she's coming to Texas and for the summer, which, everyone says, you're going to Texas in the summer? And that's kind of my opening line is, nobody goes to Texas.
We did it. We did it this past summer.
We know exactly what you're talking about.
So,
those are wise words.
I'm a 9th generation Texan. I know better than to be here in the summer.
We left the Florida summer to go to the Texas summer. What?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
So,
right now, let me tell you that Richard Schwinn said, great cover, Jinx.
okay.
On your second one.
Oh, I'm starting to read it. I'm still looking at the camera up here. Oh, yeah, I see it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was done by Christian.
And George Dismuke says, I have just ordered the Kindle version of the Texicans.
Well, goody. Thank you.
And Sally Cleland said, I could handle some Texas heat right now. We already have snow. We already have snow here. Oh, that's why we all live in Texas and Florida and places like that.
We're cooling down. And so that's why I'm back. I usually don't return from Colorado until the 1st of November, because that's when it starts cooling down. Okay, so anyway, I'm sitting here writing my little heart out. Go ahead.
We're going to take our quick break here, our last break. When we come back, we can finish your thought here and also tell everybody where to reach you and have your book giveaway.
Yeah, certainly.
So everybody stay tuned. We got a lot more to come.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. 2 new enemies await him in the small coal mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Behold, this one about a man, a woman, a black jaguar, and an ancient Maya legend. Two Faces of the Jaguar is a novel by George Dismukes that will take you deep into the jungle and capture your imagination until the last word. Two Faces of the Jaguar is book 1 of a trilogy. Two Faces of the Jaguar, where only the adventurous dare to read.
Two Faces of the Jaguar, The Lost City, and The Jaguar's Quest are available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and many other bookseller websites. Two Faces of the Jaguar, the book people are talking about. Get your copy today.
Okay, so Jinx's website is jinxschwartz.com. That's for those of you that are just listening and not watching the vodcast. That is JINXSCHWARTZ.com. And her email is just as easy. Both Kelly and Jinx have made it really easy for all of you. It's jinx@jinxschwartz.com. So that's easy peasy.
Say that 10 times fast.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to say it twice fast. And the ticker right here is for her ebook giveaway.
The book giveaway is the first 3 people to email jinx@jinxschwartz.com will win an ebook copy when it comes out of Texas born.
No, we'll win an ebook copy of Texas.
Oh, that one's already out. That's right. Texas. Win an ebook copy of Texas Born and Bred, because that'll give you the background for the latest one that's going to be coming out in December. What is your release date?
December
20th.
20th. Okay.
I did want to mention, though, to please put in the header, Meet the Author podcast in the subject line so that Jinx knows that, you know, you're getting a free copy because you were watching or listening to the podcast. We have another comment here. Oh, Connie Cleary. She's saying hello. Everyone's sorry I'm late.
We were wondering where you were.
Yeah, we were.
we were going to send out the troops to find you.
And George Dismukes is telling 60s predicted for San Leon by Friday. San Leon, Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be 70s high, and that's very chilly. Quite frankly.
It is. Joe Conjo will tell you that I have sweaters on when it's like that. Cold. Oh, but I love that cover that you have for the second one. That is really cool. And I like the title. That was very clever, Jinx.
Thank you. I wrote it several ways and came up with that one. And I always put them on Amazon and see if there's another one, but there isn't. I thought, what? Nobody's done that?
No,
wow.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's hard to find a title that isn't already on there.
That's right.
It's really
it sure is.
It is. So do you remember what you were saying when we rudely interrupted you to have a commercial break?
Oh, I just said I'm working I'm writing and getting this book turned out. And I just don't know when y'all have time to make all those great commercials. Because I turn out 2 books a year and I'm like under the gun all the time. You know, I'm a one-woman show, so I need a clone. Anyway, my best friend says, oh no, not 2 of you.
Joe Conjal said it was 81 degrees in Charlotte today. Yeah, I know. It's so hot all the time.
It was supposed to be 80 here, but with the breeze blowing off the ocean, I never had to turn on the AC. Oh. And right now it's probably down in the high 60s.
We did.
So that's not bad. And we got a cool down tomorrow, so that's cool.
Yeah, we were mid-80s today.
Robin Madridge says, Joe, it was 49 for high in Pennsylvania.
Oh, well, I guess
that's why we're going there in the summer, Robin.
Unless you can afford to move to San Diego, that's what you're going to have to put up with.
Yeah, but Richard's going to win the prize here.
Richard, wait a minute. Chris Chrisman says 62 in the Midwest, but here's the prize winner. Richard Schwint says we're expecting freezing rain followed by snow.
Yeah. No, Anyway, I don't really have all that much to say other than the books I write, I enjoy writing. Of course, I want to burn them right about the time they're almost over. And the third edit, I start tearing out my hair and screaming at my computer.
But I'll get there. You're sick of the book. You're like.
And my friends all say, where have you been? And I said, you know where I've been. Locked up in my RV writing.
And Connie Cleary said it's mid-50s today in Northeast Ohio. And Joe Condell said that's why I moved from Syracuse. Yeah, Syracuse is
just warm.
Winter most
Warm and beautiful.
Yeah,
Balmy.
we
Yeah,
did some time in Ithaca. So
Oh,
I don't
and
know.
Marjorie Daring's 41 from where she's watching in Wisconsin, predicting colder temperatures tomorrow. Oh, no, not for me.
I guess it's almost winter, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I
Texans
like
are already
winter.
digging out their long johns.
Oh, we have long johns for when it's that cold.
And socks with their flip-flops.
We're going camping this week, and I'm going to bring some heavy-duty stuff and some shorts because it'll be really cold in the morning and at night. And it's
You
going to be
never
really
know
hot.
here. Yeah. I've changed clothes 4 times a day. You know, it's just like it changes. I have a gazebo outside, and I like to go out there and have coffee. And I had to wear long pants this morning, so.
It's really fascinating how you got started in writing. I mean, because almost all of us say we've, always wanted to write. But you said what we all say too. You were a voracious reader. You read everything. I used to say I would read a toothpaste tube if there was nothing else.
Oh yeah, I got locked. I got into a hotel in El Paso one time, and I realized I didn't have anything to read, and I panicked. But luckily, there was a Bible in the drawer, so
Thank you, Gideons.
Yeah, right. I mean, right there.
Mm-hmm.
I've been known to read phone books.
Oh, I know. on the same way. And that's why it probably was so easy for you to go right into writing once
Maybe so, because
intrigued with the story.
I knew what I liked. Of course, that's changed. But I knew what I liked and the type of book I like to read, which is snappy. I think it was one of the big writers, mystery writer. He's a noir, I think it was. Anyway, he said, "What you want to see on a book page is lots of white, lots of white. Don't keep people talking, keep things moving." And I like to do that, and my readers do like that. Cool. It's not going to win a Pulitzer Prize, but
So you guys, you're going to be in the 2024 series of Magnolia Bluff, right, Kelly? You too?
Yes. November next year.
You're November.
December next year.
Again, right? We're going to be April. Right? So
okay.
We got 12 more books coming out, right? 11 more books anyway, 11 or 12.
Yeah, I think so.
Next year. So we're at book number 20 right now on the series. Anybody that hasn't gotten in there, you go to Amazon and look up Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles series and go to the series page. They're all listed there in chronological order, 1 through 20.
We have them all.
18 or 19 and 20 I don't think are listed yet, but as they come out they will be. But I think it's 1 through 18 is all listed on there.
We have all of them, and one of our team members from we're part of a paranormal investigation team, downloaded all of them too.
Yeah.
Joe Conjul is in July next year.
Okay.
His
good.
Out in July.
For those of you that don't know, you don't have to read them in order.
No.
It might be easier to keep track of them if you do, but they're not order, specific. You'll have the major characters in there in the right, the whole time.
Though if one of us is writing about somebody that there's been a change in their life, you might find out something ahead of time if you don't read them in order.
Yeah. So I recommend in order, but that's just the way I like to read series. So, but you don't absolutely have to.
Yeah, because I haven't read them in order.
Right.
I've been jumping around all over the place. But it's a fun series. It's an amazing concept, and
yes,
we're really honored to be part of it.
Yeah.
I like it because you can draw from other authors' books and try to continue some of the story with some of the same characters without stepping on their plot or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that way.
Yeah, it's really great to see all the different perspectives of a town.
Yeah, I'm pulling back a couple of characters that haven't been talked about in a while.
Oh,
So,
that's great.
Yeah.
Everyone will be relieved to know that they're okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they're all alive and well. I don't kill anybody off unless I check with everybody.
Busy with their lives in Magnolia Bluff.
Yeah.
I do have to say that happened to me once. I was writing about a character, and I'd passed it on to CW, I believe it was, just to, you get feedback from other people. He said, Kelly, she's dead. And the book hadn't come out yet, so I didn't know.
That's the thing.
That's the danger.
That's why we probably bug CW half to death, saying, "Is this person okay to talk about? And how do we do it?" And Robin Major says that does sound like a heck of a lot of fun and an interesting endeavor. It is, Robin, because everybody has their own perspective in real life. And so if you talk to 15 different people about the same town, you're going to get 15 different viewpoints. And now you're getting 12 different viewpoints of the same town. Sally Cleland said, love that concept of borrowing ideas or characters from other books by other authors, sort of like the branching idea of your family tree, Jinx.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of sets you thinking about new people that you want to put in instead of making up new ones.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have Fergus. Fergus is the town drunk that was originally put in there by Linda Purtle, I think, and taken over by CW, who gave it back to her. It went round and round. But anyway, it's mine now. He's mine. And he figures large in this new book. And so I brought him back, and Linda's pleased because she likes him a lot. And then there's Buck Blanton. Anybody remember him? He's the former sheriff of our police, the sheriff. Yeah,
Sheriff.
I think
before my character was. Yeah, well, I'm bringing him back, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Kelly?
Huh?
I was going to say Buck was Caleb's character initially. I used him a lot too, and he's just an extraordinarily fun character.
Yes, he is. And that's what I like. I like to pick on the fun ones and try to work them into my book without stepping on the author's toes. As a matter of fact, before I used Fergus, I emailed Linda Purtle and asked her, do you mind if I use him? She said, yes, but treat him nice.
We're using Harry and Ember from CW's book. We knew we needed them. And it's going to be...
Oh, you were talking to me?
No, I was just talking to everybody. I said, we're using Harry and Ember from CW.
Okay, so there you go. Well, I'm using Ember too, and Harry.
Yeah, I like Harry and Ember. I do. And I like the really good wood-fired coffee shop.
There are lovebirds in the series. I love their love story.
Me too.
I like the fact that it's probably odd. It's an odd couple.
Yeah, they are an odd couple. I like them. Joe Condell said Buck was in Kay's book also.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you ever run out of somebody, there's always Mary Lou Fight.
Ooh,
she seems to go through almost every book.
She is a witch.
The coffee shop itself.
Is.
The coffee shop itself is odd because it's such a high and upscale thing for such a small town,
Well, and Harry has a mysterious background.
He does.
Right. He does. Very mysterious.
Yeah. Nobody's come. I didn't try to solve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of, I don't know what it is, but I think we're all getting into, at first it was a little, we didn't know what to do with other people's, but now we're all getting sort of into the swing of it. And we can see the flow as we pick up a character from here and there and write them back in so they're not forgotten. And you leave them there for somebody else to use.
There you go.
Yeah, you don't kill them off.
No.
I know. What wasn't it? Was it CW that you killed off or he killed off yours, Kelly, or you killed off his?
No, I had a character that I think Linda maybe killed her in her book, and I didn't know about it because I don't think it had been published yet. And when I'm writing and I send it off to CW, he says, we got a problem.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, I remember. That's when we started telling people who we were using so that we didn't have a mix-up there.
Yeah,
I think continuity is going to be the answer to the success of this book group.
Joe Conjal said, I think the coffee shop has been in everyone's book. Yes. And we're using new coffee.
Well, the whole thing is, if you live in Magnolia Bluff, you go there.
Yeah. This is very, very Richie Rich coffee that we're putting in there. Sally Cleland said, can you tell the story of how Underground Author Group got started and who created the first main characters? And before you do that, either one of you can take that. Robin Madrich says, it's like professional fan fiction. Very cool. Richard Schwint said, the dead characters can be found at the bottom of the reservoir. I think you don't want to drink from that reservoir or go swimming in there.
Yeah. Wasn't it Caleb that started it or put it together?
The group? Yeah.
Oh, the group did.
Yeah.
I think Caleb did put it together.
I think so too, because I had met him in Mexico at a book thing. And then all of a sudden, out of a clear blue sky, I hear from him and asked if I'd be interested. And so I just assumed it was from the Mexico connection.
Sorry, Jinx.
Yeah, we had a book convention in Puerto Vallarta, and I was one of the speakers. And he was there, and so, I just thought that's what, but I didn't know why.
Caleb started the group, CW said. But the anthology was your idea, wasn't it, CW? Or am I misremembering? I thought the anthology was CW's idea. Caleb started the group. The anthology was his idea from a writing exercise that everyone did.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah.
CW, I think we had so much fun. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to walk on you there. We had so much fun with the anthology. We just all thought it was great. And I do believe it was CW.
It was.
What if we do this with books? And I think everybody kind of scratched their head and said, well, why not? Of course.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It really is. And we all miss
him,
don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss him a lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
He and Linda both have done so much for authors. They promote.
Oh, I know.
So kindly and just with their newsletter. But I was with Caleb in another publishing place and just kept in touch with him. And then, it's just been a great experience for me knowing both of them. And they're just fine folk, let me tell you.
Yeah. Well, he's a huge loss to the book world.
He is. There's no doubt about that. He really is.
Didn't he write something like 65 books?
90.
He wrote 90, yeah. Plus he, wrote for Southern Hospitality magazine. I'm trying to
Southern Living.
Maybe Southern Living. Thank you very much. Yeah. Southern Living.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a couple of his manuscripts were made into movies.
I didn't know that.
Yep. I think they were on the...
and this is his memoir.
Yep. I've got that.
Yeah.
I haven't got
If
that.
I'm not there, did it really happen?
Oh,
If I'm not there, did it really happen? Is the title.
maybe. Yeah, I've got to look, see if I have that. That does look familiar.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
I only read now about 30 minutes a night before my Kindle hits me in the nose.
Oh, me too. I've got bruises here and on my forehead.
CW said he wrote screenplays.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh.
As did George Dismukes.
Yeah.
They had a lot in common, George and Caleb.
Yeah.
Yeah, he touched so many authors, didn't he?
Just so gracious, just so kind, so and just industrious. My goodness, even as he was ill, he was finishing up his book, and an amazing man. Yeah.
Yep. Joe Conjal said, I think he was associated with the Gambler movies.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, those were fun.
Well, he wasn't very good at tooting his own horn.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Very humble.
Nope. Very humble. Nope. No, you would never know. And CW says, yes, he was indeed with the Gambler movies. He was.
Well, we need to post that on our own, that kind of information on our own group email somewhere. See, let's let CW do it.
Poor CW. He
can do everything.
He gets
everything.
I feel so bad. Like, oh my gosh. Poor let CW do it. He'll know. And he does know.
His finger on everything. Yep. He's like our mom.
There you go, CW. You're like our mom.
Kind of not like my mom.
And I'll tell you something about CW that I just absolutely love. I love that laugh. He has got such a unique. It's one of those that when he does it, you got to laugh along. It drags you in there. So.
Roxanne says, "Good one, Jinx Schwartz." And I like writing. I really get the voice of Lily that owns the Flower B&B. I love writing her. I love writing things that she says because I really.
Yeah, she shows up in our book.
I understand her. And CW says, "LOL." Oh my gosh. Well, this has really been fun, you guys.
We probably need to wind her up.
Yep. We ran over already.
Yep. So
surprise, surprise.
November 22nd for Kelly.
Yes.
Bye,
For Black
Baby Bye.
And December 20th for
Jinx.
Texas Summers Are Murder. Right?
Good, great title. Well, it's really been fun. I'm so glad we were finally able to get you on the show, Jinx.
Oh, yeah.
That you were in a place where we could, and we'll have to have you on again when your next book comes out for your series, which would be number 15 or number 16.
It'll be 16. I'll start writing that as soon as I get this last one finished for our group.
Yeah. Okay, we've got to have you back for that one. Paul Hollis says, wonderful show. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Paul. Chris Chrisman said, great show. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Chris. And let's see. Whoa, wait a minute. We're getting a lot of comments. Okay, Joe Conjal said, great show tonight, everyone. Thanks, Kelly, Jinx, and Robin Joan. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Roxanne Berkey says, wow, I can't wait for the new ones from Magnolia Bluff. Yeah, they're going to be so much fun. Robin Madrich said, thank you all for a great show. Marjorie Deering said, another great episode. Thanks, everyone. Connie Cleary says, thank you, great show. Sally Cleland said, I so enjoyed myself and wish you all continued success and happiness. Bye from Canada. Thank you, Sally.
Thanks
We
for
love that
joining
you
us,
keep
Sally.
joining us all the time.
We're here every Wednesday, so drop in when you want.
Richard Swint said, great fun. It was great fun. And CW Hawes says, super show. Roxanne said, Rob and Joan are the best hosts.
No.
You know what?
They are.
I did want to mention that this is so crazy, you guys, and I hope you're still listening in the audience. We get our analytics for how many people have, downloaded this podcast and where they're downloading it from. The number 2, the greatest amount of downloads, of course, are in the United States. Number 2
right now
for the last 30 days has been Russia. And number 3 has been South Africa.
Wow.
That's crazy, isn't it? Don't worry, Sally. Canada's up there too. You're up there in the top. You're in the top 12 or something.
Putin could be watching us now.
I know.
He's probably got it on his TV and he's got his feet up.
Joe Conjal said, any more info on the British magazine? Yeah, for sure. We're going to be the British magazine asked us to, if they want to write an article about the podcast. So we're going to do that with them. And also we've been, FM radio station has asked to broadcast to produce our podcast in Atlanta.
Got like 300,000 followers or something like that from the Nielsen ratings.
Wow.
So it's like, and they're really anxious. We had a meeting with them today, and so we're considering doing that. Should be fun.
CW says, that's brilliant. Yes, the magazine is brilliant. That's because the British magazine said, you're brilliant.
Brilliant.
Roxanne said, Joan, did you cut your hair? It looks lovely. Thank you. I chopped off 12 inches. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like it. Thank you.
Wow.
Connie Clary says, nice. Yeah. Joe Conjal said, that is awesome. Do it. I don't know. We're talking about it. They sent us the contract today.
So we'll look at it.
We'll think about it. We're still going to do it this format, and here you'll still be able to see it. We talked to them about that. You'll still see us on Facebook, and you'll still be able to comment. We said our show isn't a show without our audience and the audience commenting. So, but then from there, they would like to, after we've been on there for a while, they would like to syndicate it. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
See what happens. Yeah. So
I don't know if I'll be able to take the pressure. I'm like, mistakes and all, you want us like we are? They said, yeah. I said, have you listened to the show?
There you go. Joe can listen to it when he goes to the Braves game. So listen to it in Atlanta. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you can probably, I think there's a link on there to listen to it on the computer too. So.
Roxanne says, fantastic. Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but.
Okay. Enough of this, I think. We need to get going. Remind everybody next week, tune in and support Joseph Carabas. It'll be same time, same place, pre-recorded episode, because we will be camping and roasting marshmallows. And
No.
I'm planning on it. Anyway, so I guess until next time.
That's all, folks.
Night all.
Good night.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen Gees welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie. And you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time. on WLFE-DV.com.